In the vast, unforgiving dunes of Tatooine, under the twin suns that baked the sand into a shimmering haze, Luke Skywalker stared at the horizon, his mind a whirlwind of questions. He had always felt a pull, a whisper from the stars, urging him towards something greater than moisture farming. But today, that whisper had become a roar. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the old hermit known to locals as Ben, had finally revealed the truth, or at least a sliver of it. Luke clutched the lightsaber in his hand, the one that had belonged to his father, Anakin Skywalker. A Jedi Knight, Obi-Wan had said, a hero of the Clone Wars. But there was more, so much more. It was evening now, the heat of the day giving way to a chill that seeped into the bones. Luke had stormed out of Obi-Wan's hut after the initial revelation, needing air, needing space to process. His aunt and uncle were gone, burned alive by Imperial stormtroopers searching for those droids, R2-D2 and C-3PO, the unlikely catalyst for all this madness. And now Obi-Wan wanted him to leave Tatooine, to join the rebellion, to learn the ways of the Force. But Luke couldn't shake the feeling that Obi-Wan was holding back. The old man's eyes had darted away when Luke pressed about his father. "Ben," Luke said, bursting back into the dimly lit hut, his voice steady but edged with frustration. "You said my father was a Jedi killed by Darth Vader. But there's something else, isn't there? I can feel it, like a shadow in your words." Obi-Wan sat cross-legged on a worn mat, his face illuminated by the soft glow of a holographic projector displaying old Republic archives, fragments he'd salvaged over the years. He sighed, the weight of 2 decades pressing down on him. "Luke, some truths are burdens too heavy for the young to bear. Your father was my friend, my brother in arms. But the galaxy is not as simple as heroes and villains." "Tell me," Luke insisted, kneeling beside him. "If I'm to follow this path, I need to know everything. What happened to him?" "Really?" Obi-Wan closed his eyes, the lines on his face deepening. For years he had rehearsed a sanitized version. Anakin betrayed and murdered by Vader. It was a lie of omission, designed to protect Luke, to mold him into the Jedi the galaxy needed. But looking at the boy now, young, earnest, with Anakin's blue eyes and Padme's determination, Obi-Wan felt the Force shift. Perhaps the time for half-truths was over. Perhaps honesty would forge us stronger weapons against the Empire. "Very well," Obi-Wan said softly. "But remember, Luke, the Force binds us all. Choices define us, but redemption, it is always possible." He activated the hologram and grainy images flickered to life. The Jedi Temple on Coruscant, its spires piercing the smog-choked sky. Your father, Anakin Skywalker, was the chosen one, prophesied to bring balance to the Force. He was brave, skilled beyond measure. During the Clone Wars, he saved countless lives, including mine, more times than I can count. Luke leaned forward, absorbing every word. "Then what went wrong?" "The dark side," Obi-Wan replied, his voice dropping. "It seduces them with promises of power, of control. Anakin fell in love with your mother, Padme Amidala, a senator from Naboo. Jedi are forbidden attachments, but Anakin, he was always ruled by his heart. When visions plagued him of her death, he sought ways to prevent it. Chancellor Palpatine, who we now know as Emperor Palpatine, manipulated him, offered him forbidden knowledge. The hologram shifted to darker scenes, clone troopers turning on their Jedi generals, Order 66 unfolding in chaos. Anakin marched on the Jedi Temple. He led the 501st Legion in a slaughter. Men, women, children, younglings, Luke, innocent Padawans, barely old enough to hold a lightsaber. He cut them down without mercy. Luke's breath caught. "No, that can't be." Obi-Wan's eyes met his, unflinching. "It is. I saw the security recordings myself. Anakin became Darth Vader that night. He strangled Padme in a fit of rage on Mustafar, believing she had betrayed them. And then he turned on me. We dueled amid the lava flows. I left him for dead, his body broken and burned. But Palpatine saved him, encased him in that black armor. Vader is your father, Luke, the man who murdered the Jedi, who helped birth the Empire." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Luke staggered back, the lightsaber slipping from his grasp. His world shattered, not with anger, but with a profound, aching sorrow. He had dreamed of his father as a noble pilot, a warrior, not this monster. Tears welled in his eyes, but he wiped them away fiercely. Why tell me now? Why not keep lying? Because you deserve the truth, Obi-Wan said, and because the Force has a plan for you. You could be the one to end this darkness, but you must choose your path wisely. Luke paced the hut, his mind racing. The unique twist in his fate began to unfurl not in rejection, but in a strange, defiant empathy. What if Anakin's fall wasn't just evil, but a tragedy born of love? What if Luke could reach him, pull him back? The idea took root like a seed in fertile soil. If he's my father, maybe he's not lost. Maybe I can save him. Obi-Wan shook his head. The dark side consumes. Vader is more machine than man now, twisted and evil. But you said redemption is possible, Luke countered. What if I confront him? Not to fight, but to talk. To remind him of who he was. That's madness, Luke. He'd kill you without a second thought. The boy, no, the young man, straightened. Then train me, but not just to destroy the Empire. Train me to save my father. Obi-Wan felt a chill. This was not the path he had envisioned. In the original timeline, his half-truths had led Luke to Yoda, to a confrontation born of necessity. But here, with the full weight of Anakin's sins laid bare, Luke's response was unexpected. Not vengeance, but hope. A unique twist where the son's compassion might unravel the Sith's grip, or doom them all. As the night deepened, they prepared to leave Tatooine. The droids beeped anxiously outside, and Obi-Wan sensed stormtroopers closing in. We must go to Alderaan, he said. Princess Leia can help us get to the rebellion. Luke nodded, but his thoughts were elsewhere, on a black-clad figure enforcer of the Empire. As they boarded the Millennium Falcon after a hasty deal with Han Solo and Chewbacca and Mos Eisley, Luke stared out at the stars. The hyperspace jump to Alderaan was uneventful, but upon arrival, horror awaited. The planet was gone, obliterated by the Death Star. From the Falcon's cockpit, Luke watched the debris field in stunned silence. That's no moon, Obi-Wan murmured as the massive battle station loomed. Tractor beams pulled them in, and the adventure escalated. Stormtroopers swarmed the ship, but the group hid in smuggling compartments. Obi-Wan deactivated the tractor beam while Han and Luke rescued Leia, disguised as stormtroopers, blasting their way through detention blocks. But here's where the twist deepened. As they escaped, Luke felt a presence, a dark, mechanical breath echoing through the Force. Vader was aboard. Instead of fleeing directly to the Falcon, Luke paused in a corridor, his heart pounding. "Father," he whispered, reaching out with untrained senses. Vader halted mid-stride, his cape swirling. "What did you say, boy?" Obi-Wan, sensing the danger, rushed to intervene. "Luke, no! Run!" But Luke stood his ground. "Anakin Skywalker, that's your name. I know what you did. The temple, the younglings, my mother. Obi-Wan told me everything." Vader's helmet tilted, a hiss of surprise escaping his respirator. "Kenobi lives? And he fills your head with lies." "No lies," Luke said, his voice trembling but resolute. "You were a Jedi. You loved her, Padme. I'm your son, Luke." The Dark Lord froze. In the canon tales, Vader would learn of his son later through spies and Imperial machinations, but here the revelation came raw, unfiltered, in the bowels of the Death Star. A storm of emotions raged beneath Vader's mask. Rage, denial, and a flicker of something long buried, paternal instinct. "You are mistaken," Vader boomed, igniting his red lightsaber. "Skywalker is dead." Obi-Wan arrived, blue blade humming to life. "Anakin, let the boy go. This is between us." The duel began, lightsabers clashing in a frenzy of light and shadow. Luke watched, horrified, as his mentor and father battled, but the unique twist manifested. Luke, drawing on untapped Force potential, instinctively reached out. "Stop, Father, please!" Vader's strike faltered for a split second, enough for Obi-Wan to press the advantage, but also enough for stormtroopers to arrive. Blaster fire erupted. In the chaos, Obi-Wan shouted, "Luke, escape! I'll hold them!" But Luke couldn't leave. He grabbed a fallen trooper's blaster and fired wildly, covering Obi-Wan. Vader, conflicted, didn't pursue immediately. Instead, he watched as Luke and Obi-Wan retreated to the Falcon. As the ship blasted away from the Death Star, pursued by TIE fighters, Luke collapsed into a seat, exhausted. "You confronted him," Obi-Wan said, bandaging a wound. "That was reckless." "But I felt something," Luke replied. "A hesitation, like he recognized me." Obi-Wan frowned. The dark side clouds everything, but perhaps your words planted a seed. On the Death Star, Vader stood in the hangar, staring into space. Grand Moff Tarkin approached. "My lord, the rebels have escaped. Shall we track them?" Vader's fist clenched. "The bull... He claims to be my son." Tarkin's eyes widened. "Impossible, your children died with the Queen." "Kenobi lives," Vader growled, "and he has told the boy truths that should have remained buried." The Emperor's voice crackled over a hologram. "What is this disturbance I sense, my apprentice?" Vader knelt. "A boy, master. He knows of my past. He calls himself Luke Skywalker." Palpatine's hooded eyes gleamed. "Your son? Fascinating! Bring him to me! Alive, he could be... useful?" But in Vader's mind, a unique twist brewed. Not just obedience, but curiosity. What if the boy was right? What if redemption whispered through the Force? For the first time in years, Anakin's voice echoed faintly in the void. Meanwhile, the Falcon sped toward Yavin 4, the rebel base. Leia briefed them on the Death Star plans hidden in R2-D2. "We can destroy it," she said, "but we'll need pilots." Luke volunteered immediately, his resolve hardened. But as he trained in the simulator, visions plagued him, not of destruction, but of reconciliation. In the Force, he saw flashes. Anakin as a young Jedi, laughing with Obi-Wan, Padme's gentle smile, the horrors of the temple, younglings screaming. The Battle of Yavin loomed. Rebel X-Wings launched, streaking toward the Death Star. Luke in his fighter felt Vader's approach. "Red 5 standing by," he reported. As dogfights erupted, Vader's T-Izuku advance zeroed in on Luke's squadron. "The Force is strong with this one," Vader murmured. Blasts rocked Luke's ship. "I have you now," Vader said. But then Han Solo's voice crackled. "You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home." Luke fired the proton torpedoes guided by the Force. The Death Star exploded in a cataclysm of fire. In the aftermath, celebrations erupted on Yavin 4. Medals were awarded. Luke, Han, Chewbacca, heroes of the day. But Luke's mind was elsewhere. Obi-Wan pulled him aside. "You did it, Luke. But Vader escaped. The Empire will strike back." "I know," Luke said. "And when they do, I'll be ready. Not just to fight him, but to save him." Obi-Wan nodded gravely. "The path you choose is dangerous, but the Force will guide you." As the Part 1 drew to a close, a shadow fell over the rebellion. Imperial spies reported back to Vader. The boy's location, his growing power. And in a hidden chamber on Coruscant, Palpatine cackled. "The son of Skywalker. He will turn, or he will die." But Luke, staring at the stars from Yavin's jungle canopy, felt a pull toward Bespin, toward Dagobah, places whispered by the Force. The unique twist had begun, a son's quest not for vengeance, but for his father's soul. Little did he know, this honesty from Obi-Wan would unravel threads leading to an alliance unforeseen, where father and son might stand against the Emperor together, or fall into deeper darkness. The echoes of victory on Yavin 4 faded quickly, replaced by the grim reality of an empire scorned. The Rebel Alliance, ever the underdog, scrambled to evacuate their base before Imperial reprisals could descend. Luke Skywalker stood on the humid jungle platform, watching X-Wings and transport ships lift off into the starry void. His medal from the ceremony felt heavy around his neck, a symbol of triumph, but also a reminder of the unfinished business that gnawed at his soul. Obi-Wan Kenobi approached, his robes tattered from the recent skirmishes. "The Force is restless, Luke. I sense a great disturbance of Vader. No. He knows about you now. Your confrontation on the Death Star has changed everything." Luke turned, his face etched with determination. "Good. Maybe that's what we need. If I can reach him, remind him of Anakin." "Luke," Obi-Wan interrupted gently, "your heart is pure, but the dark side is insidious. Yoda, my old master, awaits on Dagobah. He can train you properly. Only then might you stand a chance." The mention of Yoda stirred something in Luke. A vision from the Force, murky swamps, and an ancient voice. "Dagobah? All right, but I'm not going just to learn how to fight. I need to understand how to save him." Leia Organa joined them, her presence a beacon of resolve amid the chaos. "We're heading to Hoth." A remote ice planet. It should buy us time. Luke, if you're going off on some Jedi quest, make it quick. The Empire won't wait. As Han Solo, leaning against the Millennium Falcon with Chewbacca at his side, smirked. Jedi quest? Kid, you're crazier than I thought. But hey, if you need a ride back from whatever swamp you're diving into, you know where to find us. As the Falcon blasted off with Leia aboard, Luke and Obi-Wan boarded a small shuttle bound for Dagobah. R2-D2 whistled nervously, but Luke patted the droid. It'll be fine, R2. We're going to learn from the best. The journey was short in hyperspace terms, but long in reflection. Luke bombarded Obi-Wan with questions about Anakin's past, the pod racing on Tatooine, the battles alongside clones, the forbidden love with Padme. He wasn't always evil, Luke said. He was trying to protect her, protect us. Obi-Wan nodded somberly. Fear of loss is the path to the dark side. Anakin's attachments became his chains. Dagobah emerged from the hyperspace swirl, a misty orb shrouded in perpetual fog. The shuttle plunged through the atmosphere, crashing into the swampy mire. Vines and creatures slithered around the wreckage as Luke and Obi-Wan emerged, R2 in tow. Size matters not, a gravelly voice croaked from the shadows. A small green figure hobbled forward on a gnarled cane. Judge me by my size, do you? Yoda, Obi-Wan greeted with a bow. This is Luke Skywalker, Anakin's son. Yoda's ears twitched. Anakin's son? Troubled that the future is, clouded by the dark side. Luke knelt respectfully. Master Yoda, Obi-Wan told me everything. About the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, the younglings, my mother. I want to train, but not to destroy Vader, to redeem him. Yoda's eyes narrowed, piercing Luke's soul. Redeem? Strong in you, hope is, but dangerous this path. Anger, fear, aggression, the dark side are they. Easily they flow, quick to join you in a fight. Training began immediately, grueling and unorthodox. Luke balanced on one hand while lifting rocks with the Force. Yoda perched on his foot. Feel the Force flowing through you, Yoda instructed. Not just power, but connection. All life, it binds. But Luke's mind wandered to Vader. During meditations, he glimpsed visions, a mechanical hand clenching in frustration, a respirator's rhythmic hiss echoing in Imperial corridors. I feel him, Luke confided to Obi-Wan one evening as bioluminescent insects danced in the swamp. He's searching for me, not just to capture, to understand. Obi-Wan, appearing more ethereal each day as if the Force called him home, warned, Vader's curiosity is a trap, and Palpatine will use it against us. Meanwhile, across the galaxy on the Executor, Darth Vader paced the bridge. The revelation from the Death Star haunted him. A son. Alive. The Emperor's words rang in his ears. Bring him to me. But Vader's thoughts twisted. What if the boy could be turned, or... what if the boy could turn him? Admiral Piet, Vader commanded, his voice a mechanical thunder. Set course for the Hoth system, the rebels hide there, and prepare probe droids for a wider search. The boy... Luke must be found. The Empire's assault on Hoth was swift and brutal. It had T-Walkers stomp through blizzards, laser fire carving paths in the ice. Leia directed the evacuation from Echo Base, her breath fogging in the cold. Han Solo, ever the rogue, prepped the Falcon for a desperate escape. Imperial troops have entered the base! A rebel shouted over the comms. Leia grabbed her blaster. Hold them off! We need more time! In the chaos, Han found her. Your Highness, time to go! As they fled through collapsing tunnels, snow speeders harried the walkers outside, but Vader himself led the ground assault, his black armor stark against the white landscape. He sensed something, a familiar presence. Not the boy, but his daughter. Unbeknownst to all but the Force, Leia's connection flickered in Vader's mind, a puzzle piece he couldn't yet place. The Falcon escaped into asteroid fields, pursued by Ti-Izu fighters. Han's evasive maneuvers bought them time, but the hyperdrive faltered. Chewie, fix it! Han yelled. Back on Dagobah, Luke's training intensified. He entered the dark side cave, facing illusions of Vader. But in this twisted reality, the vision shifted. Vader's helmet cracked, revealing Anakin's scarred face, pleading for help. Luke emerged shaken. It wasn't a fight. He needed me. Yoda shook his head. The cave shows what you carry in your heart. Fear it, you must not. Then came the vision that changed everything. In a trance, Luke saw Han and Leia tortured in a cloud city, Vader's shadow looming. I have to go, he declared. Ready! You are not, Yoda protested. Suffer your friends will, but help them you cannot. Obi-Wan appeared as a Force ghost, for in this timeline the strain of recent events had claimed his physical form during training. Luke, this is a trap. Vader wants you. But if I can talk to him, Luke insisted. R2 beeped agreement, and they boarded the X-Wing, lifting off from the swamp. Bespin awaited, its gas giants swirling like omens. Cloud City floated serenely, but beneath the facade, Lando Calrissian had struck a deal with the Empire. Han, Leia, and Chewbacca were captured, Han frozen in carbonite as a test for Luke's eventual entrapment. Vader waited in the carbon-freezing chamber, his senses alert. The boy approaches. Luke landed, sneaking through the city's corridors. Stormtroopers patrolled, but he used the Force to evade them. He found Leia first in a holding cell. Luke! It's a trap! I know, he said, freeing her and Chewbacca. Where's Han? They're taking him to Jabba, Leia replied, grief in her eyes. Blaster fire erupted. As Imperials closed in, Chewbacca roared, covering their retreat. But Vader's voice boomed through the halls. Luke Skywalker, come to me! Luke hesitated, then turned to Leia. Get to the Falcon, and I'll handle this. Luke, no! She cried. But he was gone, drawn to the confrontation. In a wind-swept platform high above the clouds, father and son met. Vader's lightsaber ignited, red as blood. You are unwise to lower your defenses. Luke activated his own blade, blue and steady. I'm not here to fight you, father. I know what you did. The slaughter on Coruscant, choking mother. But I also know why. You were afraid. Palpatine twisted you. Vader paused, his stance shifting imperceptibly. Obi-Wan has taught you well, but he fills you with foolish notions. Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy. That's the Emperor talking, Luke countered, circling but not striking. Remember Anakin Skywalker, the hero, the man who loved Padme. The name struck like a blow. Vader's saber wavered. She betrayed me. No, Luke said softly. You betrayed yourself, but it's not too late. Help us. Turn back. For a moment the unique twist hung in the balance, a crack in the dark armor. Vader saw flashes, Padme's smile, young Anakin racing pods, Obi-Wan's brotherhood. But the dark side surged. You do not know the power of the dark side. The duel erupted, sabers clashing with fury. Luke, trained but inexperienced, parried desperately. Vader pressed, driving him to the edge. Impressive. Most impressive. In the city below, Leia and Chewbacca rescued Lando, who had turned against the Empire. They freed Han from the carbonite, his hibernation sickness leaving him blind but alive. Who's there? Han groaned. It's me, you old pirate, Leia said, kissing him fiercely. They fought to the Falcon, blasting stormtroopers, but Luke's scream echoed through the Force as Vader severed his hand, the lightsaber tumbling into the abyss. You are beaten, Vader intoned, extending a hand. Join me. It is your destiny. Clinging to a gantry, Luke gasped, I'll never join you. Vader's revelation came altered by the early truth. Obi-Wan never told you the full story. I am your father, but there is more. You have a sister? Luke's eyes widened. Sister? Leia, Vader confirmed. Together we can overthrow the Emperor, rule as a family. The twist deepened. Vader, tempted by Luke's words, offered not domination, but alliance against Palpatine. But Luke, horrified, chose escape. No! He let go, falling into the clouds caught by the Falcon's hatch. As they hyperspaced away, Luke clutched his stump, prosthetic plans already forming. On Bespin, Vader stared into the void. He refused, he reported to the Emperor via hologram. Palpatine's laugh crackled. Patience, my friend. The boy will come to us, or we will force him. But in Vader's heart, seeds of doubt grew. Luke's plea echoed, redeem. The rebels regrouped on a fringe world, planning their next move. Luke, fitted with a mechanical hand, confided in Leia. He's our father, and you're my sister. Leia's shock mirrored his own. Vader? No! but the bond strengthened them. Han, recovering, quipped, "Great! Family reunion with the Sith Lord. What could go wrong?" As Part 2 closed, Imperial fleets mobilized. On Coruscant, Palpatine schemed, sensing the fracture in his apprentice. Luke, meditating, reached out. "Father, come back to the light." Vader felt it, a pull toward redemption. The unique twist propelled them toward Endor, where alliances would shatter and reform. The rebel fleet hung in the void like scattered stars, a ragtag armada of frigates, corvettes, and fighters orbiting a nondescript gas giant on the outer rim. It was a temporary haven, far from the Empire's core worlds, but tension crackled through the air like static before a storm. Luke Skywalker stood on the bridge of the Mon Calamari cruiser Home 1, gazing out at the endless black. His new mechanical hand flexed involuntarily, a reminder of Bespin, of the duel that had nearly claimed to him. Beside him, Leia Organa, his sister, reviewed holographic battle plans with Admiral Akbar and General Medine. "You sure about this?" Leia asked, her voice low as the officers dispersed for a break. "Going after Han first? The Empire's building something massive. Our spies say it's another Death Star orbiting Endor." Luke nodded, his eyes distant. "Han's family, too. We can't leave him with Jabba. And I need time to think. About Father." Leia's expression hardened. She had taken the revelation better than expected, shock turning to resolve, but the word father still stung. Vader's no father. He's a monster. What he did to Alderaan, to the Jedi, to our mother. "But Obi-Wan said redemption's possible," Luke countered softly. "On Bespin he hesitated, offered to overthrow the Emperor with us. What if that's the crack we need?" Leia placed a hand on his shoulder. "Hope's dangerous, Luke, but if anyone can see the good in him, it's you." Their conversation was interrupted by Lando Calrissian, striding in with Chewbacca. "I've got a plan for Tatooine. Jabba won't know what hit him. I'll go in as a guard. You follow as bounty hunters." The mission to rescue Han Solo unfolded with the precision of a well-oiled blaster. Luke, cloaked in black, arrived at Jabba's palace under the Twin Suns, lightsaber hidden. Disguised as a mysterious Jedi, he demanded Han's release. Jabba laughed, his slimy bulk quivering. "The son of Skywalker? Vader will pay handsomely for you." The trap sprung. Luke plummeted into the rancor pit, but with force-enhanced agility, he crushed the beast's skull with a falling gate. Chaos erupted. Leia, disguised as Boushh, thawed Han. Chewbacca roared through guards. Lando revealed himself. Blasters blazed in the throne room. Luke ignited his saber, deflecting bolts and slicing through Gamorreans. At the sail barge over the Sarlacc pit, the battle peaked. Luke danced across the deck, freeing his friends. Boba Fett jetpacked in, but a precise slash sent the bounty hunter tumbling into the maw below. Jabba met his end at Leia's chain, strangled in vengeance for her enslavement. As the barge exploded behind them, the group escaped on the Falcon. Han, still groggy, clapped Luke on the back. "Kid, you keep pulling miracles! What's next, taking on the Emperor himself?" Luke smiled faintly. "Something like that." Back with the fleet, celebrations were short-lived. Intelligence confirmed a new Death Star, shielded by a generator on Endor's forest moon. The Emperor himself oversaw construction. "It's a trap," Akbar declared in the briefing. "But our only chance." Luke felt the pull stronger now. A whisper in the Force, urging him toward confrontation. That night in his quarters he meditated. Obi-Wan's ghost appeared, translucent and wise. "The Emperor knows you're coming, Luke. He seeks to turn you." "And Vader?" Luke asked. Obi-Wan hesitated. "Anakin's shadow lingers, but the dark side holds him. Your twist of fate, knowing the truth early, has stirred him, but beware. Palpatine manipulates all." Yoda's voice joined, faint from Dagobah. "Confront him, you must. But pass the test, or fall you will." Meanwhile, aboard the Executor in orbit around Endor, Darth Vader knelt before the Emperor's hologram from Coruscant. Palpatine's withered face sneered. "The rebels approach. Let them come. The boy will be ours." Vader rose, his cape swirling. "He is strong-willed, Master. His pleas, they echo Anakin's past." Palpatine's eyes flashed yellow. "Anakin is dead. Crush this weakness, or I will find a new apprentice." But alone in his meditation chamber, Vader pondered. Luke's words from Bespin replayed, "Remember Anakin Skywalker, the man who loved Padme." He accessed forbidden archives, holographic ghosts of his past, winning the Boonta Eve Classic as a boy, his wedding on Naboo, the the supposed death of his children. Lies, he murmured. Palpatine had deceived him about Padme's death, about everything. A seed of rebellion sprouted. Vader secretly dispatched a probe to scan rebel frequencies, not to destroy, but to listen. He caught fragments. Luke's voice in a transmission discussing redemption. If I can reach him... The Battle of Endor began with thunder. The rebel fleet emerged from hyperspace, only to find the Death Star's shield intact, the super laser operational. "It's a trap!" Akbar bellowed. Imperial Star Destroyers closed in, TIE fighters swarming like insects. On the moon's surface, Han, Leia, Chewbacca, and commandos infiltrated the shield bunker, Ewoks aiding in guerrilla strikes. Blasters cracked through the forest, AT-ST walkers toppling to primitive traps. Luke, however, had a different path. He surrendered to Imperial forces, demanding an audience with Vader. Escorted to the Death Star, he stood before his father in a turbolift ascending to the throne room. "You were foolish to come," Vader said, his voice modulated but laced with something new, curiosity. "I had to," Luke replied. "Father, I know the truth. The temple massacre on Coruscant, the younglings you slaughtered, choking Mother on Mustafar. Obi-Wan told me all of it. But I also know Palpatine twisted you with lies. You thought you were saving her." Vader's fist clenched. "The past is irrelevant. Power is all that matters." "No!" Luke pressed, stepping closer. "I felt your conflict on Bespin. You offered to rule with me and Leia, against him. Why? Because deep down, Anakin wants out." The lift doors opened to the Emperor's sanctum, a cavernous chamber overlooking the battle. Palpatine sat on his throne, guards flanking him. "Welcome, young Skywalker. I've been expecting you." Luke ignited his lightsaber, but Palpatine waved it away. "Your weapon is useless here, Lord Vader. Deal with this." Vader activated his red blade, and the duel commenced anew. Sabers hummed and crashed, sparks flying in the dim light. Luke, more trained now, matched blows. "Join us, Father! We can end this!" Vader parried fiercely. "You do not understand the dark side's power." Below, the ground battle raged. Han's team breached the bunker, but reinforcements arrived. Leia took a blaster bolt to the shoulder, grimacing but fighting on. Ewoks hurled rocks as Chewbacca commandeered an AT-ST, turning Imperial tech against them. In space, Lando and the Falcon led the charge, dodging turbo-laser fire. "The shield's still up. We can't get through." Palpatine cackled, watching Luke falter under Vader's assault. "Your faith in your friends is your weakness." Luke dodged a swipe. "My faith in my father is my strength." Vader hesitated again, his blade lowering fractionally. Palpatine sensed it. "Strike him down on my apprentice?" But the unique twist unfolded. Vader's conflict boiled over. Memories flooded. Padme's deathbed plea. There's good in him. Luke's early confrontation, the raw truth from Obi-Wan, had accelerated the erosion of his dark shell. "No!" Vader growled. Palpatine rose, lightning crackling from his fingers. "Then you're expendable!" Force lightning arced toward Vader, but Luke intervened, his saber absorbing some blasts. Pain seared through him. "Father, help!" Vader watched his son writhe. The Emperor's betrayal crystallized. Years of servitude lies about his family. With a mechanical roar, Vader lunged, not at Luke, but at Palpatine. He lifted the cackling Sith, hurling him into the reactor shaft. Blue energy exploded as the Emperor plummeted, screaming. The throne room shook, alarms blared. "The shield's down!" Lando's voice echoed over comms as Han's team finally detonated the generator. Vader collapsed, his suit sparking from lightning damage. Luke dragged him toward an escape shuttle. "I have to save you," Luke said, tears streaming. "You already have," Vader rasped, removing his mask. Anakin's scarred face emerged, eyes soft. "Tell your sister. You were right." The Death Star trembled, explosions rippling through its superstructure. Luke helped Anakin aboard the shuttle, blasting away just as the station erupted in a supernova of flame. The rebel fleet cheered, ships scattering from the debris. On Endor, celebrations ignited, Ewoks drumming, rebels hugging. Han embraced Leia, who sensed the shift. "Luke, he did it!" The shuttle landed amid the festivities. Luke emerged supporting a limping Anakin, his armor shed, clad in simple robes scavenged from the ship. Gasps rippled out through the crowd. "Vader?" "No," Luke announced. "Anakin Skywalker. He's come back." Murmurs turned to wary acceptance as Anakin knelt before Leia. "Daughter, forgive me, for Alderaan, for everything." Leia's eyes welled. "It's not easy, but if Luke believes—" Han scratched his head. "This is the craziest thing I have seen. Welcome back, I guess." But the twist wasn't complete. From the shadows of Coruscant, Imperial remnants stirred. Palpatine's death created a vacuum, warlords vying for power. And in the Force, a darker whisper. The Emperor's essence lingered, perhaps in clones or ancient Sith artifacts. Anakin, weakened but alive, confided in Luke by a bonfire. The dark side doesn't release easily. Palpatine may not be truly gone. "Then we'll face him together," Luke said, "as a family." As the night wore on, the galaxy held its breath. The Empire fractured, but threats loomed. Anakin's redemption, sparked by Obi-Wan's early truth and Luke's unwavering hope, had altered the stars. Yet Part 3's close brought new shadows. Whispers of a surviving Imperial fleet, rallied by Thrawn or other loyalists targeting the fledgling New Republic. Luke stared at the flames, sensing the final confrontation ahead. "It's not over." Anakin nodded. "No. But for the first time, I fight for the light." Anakin's survival was a miracle of the Force, or perhaps sheer willpower. The lightning scars from Palpatine's assault marred his pale skin, and his breathing came in labored wheezes without the suit's respirator. Rebel medics had stabilized him with backed-up patches and oxygen masks, but the damage ran deep. Luke entered the tent, the scent of antiseptic mingling with the earthy dampness of the moon. "Father," Luke said softly, kneeling beside the cot. Anakin's eyes opened, blue and weary, but clear. "Luke, the celebrations. You should be with them." "I am," Luke replied, forcing a smile. "But we're not done yet. The Empire's shattered, but fragments remain. Warlords on Coruscant, fleets in the Outer Rim. And I sense something. A shadow lingering." Anakin nodded slowly. "Palpatine. His essence clings to the dark side. I felt it when I threw him down. He had contingencies, clones, perhaps, hidden on Biss or Exegol. The Sith always planned for eternity." Leia's voice cut in from the entrance. "Then we end it. All of it." She approached, her posture rigid, a conflict in her eyes. Han Solo followed, blaster holstered, but hand ready. Chewbacca growled softly in support. Anakin met Leia's gaze. "Daughter, I don't expect forgiveness. What I did, the destruction of Alderaan, the horrors under Vader's mask, can't be undone. But if I can help destroy what's left of him..." Leia crossed her arms. "Help us, then. Prove it." The group convened with rebel leaders, Mon Mothma, Admiral Akbar, General Madine. Holographic maps projected the galaxy, red icons marking Imperial holdouts. "Coruscant is in chaos," Mothma explained. "Moff Jerjerrod rallies loyalists, but infighting weakens them. Our priority, secure the core worlds, establish the New Republic." "But the Emperor's shadow," Luke interjected. "Father says he might have survived in some form." Akbar's large eyes blinked. "Intelligence reports whispers of a dark Empire contingency, secret facilities, possibly cloning tech." Han leaned back. "Great. Zombie Emperor, just what we need." Anakin, propped up, spoke with authority born of decades in the shadows. "Exegol, in the unknown regions. Palpatine spoke of it in riddles. A Sith world, ancient and hidden. If his essence transferred, that's where he'd regroup." The plan formed swiftly. A strike team to Exegol while the main fleet assaulted Coruscant. Luke, Leia, Han, Chewbacca, and Anakin would lead the covert mission, with Lando coordinating diversions from the Falcon. As preparations hummed, Luke trained with Anakin in a clearing. Lightsabers hummed softly, not in combat, but in harmony. Your form is strong, Anakin observed, demonstrating a fluid Ataru flip. But the Force is more than strikes, it's balance. Luke parried gently. You taught me that in a way. Knowing your story, the full truth from Obi-Wan, it showed me the dark side's cost, but also its pull. Anakin deactivated his blade, a new one crafted from salvage parts. I fell because of fear. For your mother for power, Palpatine preyed on it. Don't make my mistakes. Leia watched from afar, her own Force sensitivity awakening. She had begun sensing emotions, glimpses of the future. He's different, she admitted to Han later as they checked the Falcon's systems. Han grunted. Yeah, well, if he double-crosses us, I'll shoot first. The journey to Exegol was perilous, navigating hyperspace anomalies and Sith wayfinders scavenged from Vader's castle on Mustafar. A detour that stirred ghosts for Anakin. I built that fortress in rage, he confessed aboard the shuttle. Now, it serves the light. Exegol loomed, a storm-shrouded world of jagged spires and eternal lightning. The team landed amid ruins, ancient Sith statues glaring down. This place reeks of the dark side, Han muttered, blaster drawn. Chewbacca roared agreement, fur bristling. As they infiltrated the Citadel, a massive underground complex echoing with mechanical hums, stormtroopers patrolled. But these were different. Crimson-armored Sith troopers, fanatically loyal. Blaster fire erupted in narrow corridors, the group fighting back to back. Luke's saber deflected bolts, Leia's precise shots dropping foes, Han's quips lightening the tension. These guys don't quit! Anakin, though weakened, wielded his blade with precision, Force pushes hurling enemies into walls. Palpatine's experiments, he explained between clashes, clones enhanced with dark alchemy. Deeper in, they discovered the horror. Vats of bubbling liquid, housing imperfect clones of Palpatine, grotesque half-formed bodies writhing in agony. Destroy them! Leia ordered, her voice steel. Explosives planted, but alarms blared. A holographic Palpatine flickered to life, his decayed face sneering. Skywalker, you think you've won? I am all the Sith. The ground shook as a perfected clone emerged from a central chamber, Palpatine's essence transferred. Body young, but eyes ancient with malice. Apprentice! He hissed at Anakin. You betray me again? Anakin stood tall. No, I reclaim myself. The final battle ignited. Palpatine unleashed lightning, arcs crackling through the air. Luke and Leia combined their Force barriers, shielding the group. Han and Chewbacca provided cover fire, grenades exploding vats and collapsing supports. You are nothing without me! Palpatine roared, focusing on Anakin. I made you! Anakin charged, sabers clashing in a whirlwind. His strikes were deliberate, drawing on Jedi teachings long suppressed. But Palpatine was relentless, Force grips choking, lightning searing. Luke joined, brother and sister flanking their father. Together! Luke shouted. Leia's untapped power surged. She hurled debris with telekinesis, distracting the Emperor. Palpatine laughed. The daughter, too? How poetic. In a pivotal moment, Palpatine blasted Anakin back, turning to Luke. Join me, boy. Rule as I offered your father. Luke resisted, but the dark temptation whispered, power to protect his family. Then Anakin rose, eyes fierce. No more lies! He impaled Palpatine from behind, the red blade piercing through, but the Emperor twisted, lightning engulfing them both. If I fall, so do you! The chamber erupted in energy. Luke pulled Anakin free as the clone body disintegrated, Palpatine's screams echoing into the void. The essence fled, but weakened, perhaps forever. Explosions chained through the Citadel as the team escaped, the shuttle lifting off amid collapsing spires. Exegol burned behind them. Back in known space, the rebel fleet triumphed at Coruscant. Imperial forces surrendered. The Senate reconvened under Mothma's leadership. The New Republic dawned. On Naboo, in a quiet ceremony by the lake where Anakin and Padme wed, the family gathered. Anakin, healing but scarred, stood with his children. Your mother would be proud, he said, voice thick. Leia softened. We're rebuilding. You can help, if you want. Anakin smiled faintly. I will as a Jedi, not a Lord. Han clapped him on the back. Welcome to the good side, old man. Luke looked to the stars. The Force at peace. The unique twist, Obi-Wan's early truth, had not only redeemed Anakin, but forged a stronger galaxy. No more hidden sins, only the open paths to light. Years passed in epilogue flashes, Luke founding a new Jedi Academy on Yavin 4, training a new generation with Anakin's wisdom, Leia leading the Senate, her diplomacy healing wounds, and Chewbacca smuggling for the Republic, adventures tempered by family. Threats arose, Yuuzhan Vong incursions, lingering Imperials, but united they prevailed. Anakin's story became legend, a cautionary tale of fall and rise. In a final vision, Obi-Wan and Yoda's ghosts appeared to Luke. "Balance achieved," Yoda said. "Thanks to truth," Obi-Wan added. Luke nodded. "And hope." The saga ended not in tragedy, but in renewal, a what-if where honesty illuminated the stars.